God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Yeah, yeah, yeah. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. Excuse me. See you all. Today's 5 minutes already. I just started talking. For change is gonna come.
How about that?
When we start.
Oh yeah, that'll save the voice. We have a long day today. We have a new thought-a-thon today, which is a long, clumsy way of saying house party. So, and of course, note to self: don't put food out between the services because no one will come in to start the service. So whether you're here in the room this morning or joining us online, my name is Reverend Michael McMorrow. Well, I'm Reverend Michael McMorrow either way, Senior Spiritual Director here at the Center for Spiritual Living in Granada Hills, California, where we welcome all who practice their beliefs in faith and love. And we like to do a little thing called hugs and handshakes here. We're just going to check in with each other and say good morning. So jazzy. So if I were to do something that made you laugh, would you like split a reed or something, or?
You hear a lot of funny noises going on.
Okay, that's what happens. All right. So please help me welcome to the platform our staff minister, the mistress of animal kinship, Reverend Kathy Lyons. Isn't that cute that she's into animal kinship and her last name is Lyons? Isn't that cute? Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's all take a deep, conscious breath. Release. allow ourselves to surrender to this eternal now moment as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. That fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Reverend Kathy lights the first candle, it's to honor the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. The third candle we light for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. The eighth candle we light for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And the 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here at our center. And as Reverend Kathy lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and I see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love.
So join me in consciousness, please. As I speak in the first person for each one here, as I recognize that there is only love, that God is love, and that God's love is everywhere present in my mind, body, and all my affairs, that God's love is within every facet of this community and planet, knowing that divine love is divinely guiding and directing me in every day and every way. And I hereby proclaim that love is working through all avenues and channels. So I experience love in my life, and we know right now that God is divinely guiding the firefighters, so everything is healed and taken care of, and we know right now that everyone is safe and free and just feeling that love and light in every day and every way. And so I give thanks. I give thanks for everyone here, for the Reverend Mike and the musicians and the sound and everyone here and everybody who may be watching online. We just give thanks for everyone and giving thanks that they just have that divine love in their life. And so with gratitude, I release this words to the law. I release it with trust, knowing it is so. And together we say, And so it is. Well, good morning, everyone. I see some more people have come in, and I'm Kathy, as Reverend Mike introduced me. And I'd like to share for today's thought from Helen Keller. Although the world is full of suffering, it is also full with the overcoming of it. And you know, this last week I did see some pain and suffering. And as religious scientists, we don't deny that something is going on, but we just affirm that there's no power in that. You know, when I first came in this teaching, I can remember where we were even encouraged not to even look at the news or read the newspaper in case our mind might be contaminated by race consciousness things. And I don't believe that we need to be aware of things, but we also need to look at the people involved who are loving and kind. Yesterday, I witnessed this overcoming of suffering when I found out that over in Reseda, they were taking donations for people being evacuated. And so I had to go to the store anyway, so they also needed pet supplies, so I picked up cat food, also water. And so when I got there were all these people donating things, and there were volunteers loading the trucks. And I really saw that here there are a lot more people who are loving and kind than there are people who aren't so much. You know, a lot of times our media likes to portray the dark side of humanity, not only in the news, but a lot of times in our entertainment. I notice there's a lot of crime shows, but that doesn't really depict people, you know, the majority of the people. Like Ernest Holmes said, there's always more good than bad in people, and seeing the good tends to bring it forth. So I think it's good to know that there's more loving, kind people than there are people who aren't so kind. And I know right now that that all of us can be guided, that we can affirm a peaceful, safe, harmonious world, but also it's good to do service, because a lot of times that brings us out of our, you know, worrying about stuff. You know, one of the things too, we don't get, in religious science, we don't get caught up in a bunch of drama. You know, that's why, you know, I wasn't going to sit around watching TV saying, ain't it awful? I wanted to get up and be of service. And to me, that's the most healing thing, when we can be of service. So remember, love casts out fear, and so it is.
Good morning, everybody. Please welcome David and Kent in the group. And we are very lucky to have our next guest here singing, our friend, Mr. Jerry Reike. Yeah, Jerry. 2, 3, 4. I was born. Whoops. Let's start over. Okay. Hey, Jerry, that's going to be on YouTube.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'll email it to you. I'll send you the link. I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, just like that mighty river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long, long time coming, and I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. Just don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long, long time coming, and I know change is gonna come. Oh, yes it will. So I go to the movies and I walk downtown. The people around there tell me, boy, don't hang around. It's been a long
I go to my brothers, I say, brothers, won't you please, please help me? All that ends up happening is them knocking me down, back down on my knees. Oh, there was a time when I thought I wouldn't last for long. Now I know I can carry on. It's been a long, long time coming, and I know a change is gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. It's been a long, long, long time coming, but I know change is gonna come. Oh, yes, it will. Namaste.
We have some announcements. The most important one, New Thought-a-thon, and that starts from 3 to 7 p.m. Facebook Live telethon benefiting our center. Also at 1 o'clock today is the Healing Support Group. We will be in the back room, so if you have any kind of cares or concerns, come and we will pray with you. And then later this week, there's Visioning for Our Center, Wednesday, November 14th. Get Real and Heal meditation is on Wednesday at 7 p.m. And our Law of Attraction group will be next Sunday, November 18th. Upcoming courses, events, and activities. November, Attitude of Gratitude Challenge. Journal or share on social media one thing you are grateful for each day in November. Change your perspective, change your life. And if you post to social media, tag our center with pound CSLGH so we can support you. Okay, so now let's stand for our Declaration of Principles. We believe in one universal spirit manifesting through all, natural and incarnated in us. We believe the universal spirit is personal to and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon a law of mind which automatically manifests in our experience according to that faith. We believe in the unity of all life and the immortality of the individual soul forever expanding. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the givingness of life to all.
So blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, am so grateful. I am so glad. I am so grateful. I am so glad.
Very nice. I think we should give Jerry some more love for that, huh? You've been doing vocal push-ups lately. Yeah, sounds good. So, what a great talk title for a Sunday, huh? Fear and Punishment. So, this month we're focusing, believe it or not, on the holiday of Thanksgiving, which, believe it or not, is a couple weeks away, and actually almost feels like Thanksgiving out there. Finally, it was like so almost cold this morning. So in this way, we are using as our theme for this month of November an attitude of gratitude. So that gratitude is an antidote for anger and fear. And thinking about all you have to appreciate can boost our happiness and our overall sense of well-being. An attitude of gratitude means making it a habit to express thankfulness and appreciation in all parts of our life on a regular basis for both the big and the small things. So with the recent double body blows of the shootings in Thousand Oaks and the wildfires blazing around us and around the town of Paradise, California, it may be difficult to find things to be difficult for. And yet at the same time, we see our public servants doing their job with the highest levels of competency, of commitment, and bravery. And then we hear stories like the ones Reverend Kathy was sharing. Stories of neighbors looking out for one another, folks putting themselves in harm's way to save pets and livestock, all exhibiting the highest demonstration of the greatest potential of human beings to rise above any sense of discord and otherness, to come together in unity and service. And on days like this, with fires and shootings, the tragedy and destruction. On days, I'm trying to set the mood here, man. And on days like this, with fires and shootings, the tragedy and destruction that can accompany them, it would be easy to forget that today is also significant in another way, and is a day to be grateful for. Today is Armistice Day. Actually, today, the 11th. So 100 years ago today, on this exact day, soldiers lay down their arms, turned their backs on war and violence, and returned to their civilian lives, some maimed, some blinded and burnt. Every soldier a different person for the experience, for good or ill. And it would take yet another war, but eventually it would bring peace to a continent that had known nothing but strife and conflict and war since the times of the Roman Empire. So how many moments of heroism lay slain on and in those fields, in the trenches of France and Germany? Acts of heroism known now only to God and to history. For after all, this was to be the war to end all wars. And sadly, this is not the case even today, still 100 years later. So in gratitude, we must remember the sacrifice of these slain combatants on both sides that gave their lives in this war and in all the wars, that we, who are safe at home in our beds, that we might know the possibility of peace and the futility of war. To remember that whatever the threat, be it wildfire or bullets, that we have within us always the possibility to transcend our most base instincts and emotions, and to find ways to look for our similarities and focus on those rather than our differences. That it is imperative. It's imperative for the survival of humankind as a species going forward. So we know this, and yet we still look around at this and other things going on in the outer world, in the world of conditions, and we can't help but ask, how is it all going to end? How's it all going to end? So in my opinion, what this means is that every man, every woman needs to heal the thinking, the thinking that keeps us feeling separate, fearful, and also to release the need for retribution and punishment when wronged. Now, this work can no longer be reserved, as it has in the past. This work can no longer be reserved as the work of saints and sages, but instead is for every one of us to do if we are to create a world that works for ourselves and for everyone else too. So that even as we recognize the heroic acts of our armies, our firefighters, law enforcement, and first responders in our community, the interesting thing about that is that often they themselves do not see themselves as heroic. They really don't see themselves as heroes. They're just doing their job. And these men and women who do heroically step into harm's way to save people, to save animals, and where they can to save property, they do it, and they do it every day. They do it so well that we are not even aware that they're doing it until tragedy strikes. We're not even aware of what a great job our law enforcement is doing most of the time. We're not aware of what our firefighters and first responders are doing. And then tragedy strikes, and then we see what they do and how they do it. They may not see what they do as heroic, but we know different. And so I just wanted to take a moment, as I know all of you have this last few weeks, or this past week, a moment to honor that. And also to just take a moment, so it is Armistice Day, but here in America, we know it as Veterans Day also, and it is Veterans Day weekend. So I wanted to invite anyone who has served in the armed forces, if we have any veterans here this morning, if you wouldn't mind, please standing. Yeah. Great. All right, great. So thank you for your service. You should at least get applause for the time we're in, right? Yeah. So you guys may not know this, but I'm an Air Force brat. So, yeah. So serving in the military is a tradition in my family. And so much so that I got to grow my hair long and not have to do that instead. So, and I'm grateful for that because, I came on the tail end of the Vietnam War. So, well, it just means a lot to me that guys were willing to do that, and now women. So, we honor those who are able to get their fear behind them and to do difficult things against seemingly insurmountable odds and prevail. And we admire this quality. We admire this quality in people. Yes? Yeah. And in this human experience also, so that's kind of the big deal heroic stuff. And yet, in this human life, in this human experience of daily living, just living a so-called ordinary life, there are many opportunities where we can either wilt in the face of fear or feel the fear and do what's necessary anyway. To get up in front of people and sing, to act, to ask for a raise, to express our feelings honestly, to express love or disappointment, to create something and have other people, allow other people to comment on it, to actually show it, to not allow bullying behaviors, to speak up and care for the weak or the less fortunate in the moment, to help a frustrated mother with a cranky child at the supermarket. All these are opportunities where we can feel afraid to step up and take action and to help out, right? And to do it anyway. Because that's what it's going to take if we're going to shift this thing. That we must do more than simply pray. We must do more than simply vision and think about how things could be different. We must be different. We must act different. We must take action. And we must take action in all the small ways of daily living. So we don't often think of such things as heroic, but that's actually what they are. To be a hero in our own life. To be a hero in our own life is life's greatest calling. And you know, that isn't just for someone who's 18 and of draft age, right? That's anywhere in the time continuum. This is the wonderful thing about life, really, is that every day there are opportunities for us to step up and to be heroic in our and to be seen as authentic, loving, compassionate, empathic, reasonable people acting and speaking in reasonable ways. So in this relative world of conditions then, this earth plane on which we live, this life can present us with all kinds of things to be afraid of, can't it? It can also present us with opportunities for when we have clearly been wronged to practice. So clearly wronged. Someone really did us in. Even being clearly wronged, to practice compassion and empathy rather than punish those who may have wronged us. Now, I am not advocating that there are not consequences, but rather that consequences be tempered in ways that exhibit reason, compassion, and empathy. And that ideally, this is what all spiritual systems are aiming to achieve. History shows, however, that this has often not been the case, and that religion has missed the mark. So Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching, encouraged a student to think a new thought about what the divine is, to consider and even understand that God is good and only good. And what are the ramifications and implications about that idea? God is good and only good. And that although it's natural to feel fear in this human life, there's no reason to fear the divine. That many of our spiritual systems, the scriptures and dogmas constructed around them, often wring the love of the divine, the sweetness of the Spirit right out of the religions that people say they love and are devoted to. And then in this way, many spiritual teachers today are looking at this practice and has observed that sometimes religion can become a kind of false god, that some adherents worship the religion rather than experience the Spirit, which is the true intention of all the prophets of all the religions, of all the ages. They call for us, whatever the tradition, they all call for us to step into the light of the divine. And religious science is not exempt from this observation. Right? For many years, religious science was practiced as just a mental science. And I think, frankly, it was when women became ministers that they started bringing the love back to the law, which Holmes spoke to. Right? But staying in the mental realm is much safer than the vulnerable and soft places of the heart, which is really where we have to go for healing. Right? If we're going to heal past hurts, we're going to have to revisit them. We can't just simply put them in a mental box. I mean, we can. I mean, we can manage them, right? But I don't know about you. I'm done managing my old stuff, right? I'm ready to heal it. And, I had a long list when I got here about, maybe 1,000 things, and I got it whittled down to about 100. So, I'm doing all right. And I have a feeling that many of you, I see nodding heads out there, can relate to that. So Holmes said this when he was looking around at things. He said that, unfortunate as it may be, there is no question that one of the great fundamental fears of the whole of the human race is belief in hell and in future punishment. And probably more sorrow, more suffering, and morbidity have come from this one belief than all of the others combined, he said. So that's Holmes. This is what I say to that. So when enough people see the world from this perspective, it becomes a mental atmosphere or race consciousness of that people, and then it skews the way people operate in their communities and in their systems. And this is why it is so important that each of us take responsibility for our own consciousness and for our own lives, to clean house and to allow the indwelling Spirit to make itself known to us, that we might demonstrate the Spirit as our life, and in this way radiating the good, the light, the love of the divine in our daily experience, just being who we are in our so-called ordinary lives, which are all extraordinary, by the way, because you are here. You are here. And you are living, and you are breathing, and you are witnessing, whether you want to accept the mantle or not, that you and I are witnessing and demonstrating the power and presence of the divine with every step. Now, when we can do that consciously, rather than by default, we have really turned the page in our spiritual unfoldment. We have really stepped into a whole new realm of living and of being in the world. As Reverend Kathy was saying, right? It's no longer about us, but how can I serve? I'm good. Things are tight, but I got enough to share. Right? And we don't have to wait for a fire or a tragedy to do that. We can do it every day in ways great and small. When enough people see the world from this perspective, it can become race consciousness. And this is why it's so important that we do our own work, individually and collectively. So really, that's what spiritual community is. So during the week, we're all doing our work to the best that we can. I know some weeks we're better at it than others. Some minutes we're better at it than others, right? But the commitment is there. The commitment to be awake and to be conscious and to be observant is there. And then we come to spiritual community as often as we can to enforce that, to reinforce that, and really to witness and demonstrate. We don't use the word witness so much in religious science, but that's really what we're doing, right? I witness you as the divine, right? And on my good days, you witness me as the divine. So 1 or 2 days a week, I'm in. But this is how we do it, especially with the people we're most challenged with. The people we're most challenged with. That's where our work is. That Holmes goes on to say that it's time for us to clarify the situation and to realize that the God of love cannot hate, that the God of life cannot destroy, that the God of good cannot desire evil. So that the reason that the carpenter, this is Holmes, of course I said carpenter, he says, he used a lot of Jesus, but people tell me they kind of go, Jesus. But so the reason the carpenter forgave people their sins was that he realized the fear and morbidity that had built up throughout the ages because people were afraid of God. People were afraid of God and had believed this way for centuries. Maybe, gosh, who knows, maybe from the start. Maybe back to the caves, that they feared him rather than loved him, that the carpenter forgave them all these mistakes and told them to think the whole thing over again until he finally realized that God is love, that God is life, that God is peace, God is joy, God is giving us, that God is forgiving us. And so that it is on this basis then, it is on this basis that we should create a great hope and faith, that we should be willing to admit that we are punished by our mistakes, and that in common sense recognize that while we continue our mistakes, we must of necessity continue to suffer, but always with the certainty in mind that when light comes, darkness disappears. When light comes, darkness disappears. We can have a new thought. We can have a new thought that at first neutralizes that old thinking, that old stinking thinking, and then we can have a new thought that not only neutralizes it, that then becomes the new rule of our life. And that is one of order, of freedom, of peace, harmony, joy, creativity, truth, and love. That when light comes, darkness disappears. When forgiveness comes to our own mind, once again, it's in our own consciousness. When forgiveness comes to our own mind, we are forgiven. When we are willing to give, we shall receive. And when we learn how to enter into heaven, we shall leave everything. We shall leave everything unlike heaven behind us. The divine peace is not disturbed by any hymn of hate, nor is the majesty and might of the eternal presence disturbed by our thoughts of discord. There's another thought that Jesus gave us. This is Holmes. Is Ken here? No, somebody go get him. So there's another thought that Jesus gave us which we should not overlook. He said that when the kingdom of heaven is at hand, it is here and now. It is not something to wait for, something that is going to happen by and by. It is at hand. The question is, are we seeing it? Are we seeing it? Are we actually beholding? Are we actually beholding it as he did in the here and now? So let's invite the musicians forward, and we're going to take a deep breath and just consider today the ways that we can step into gratitude and allow this to be our practice. You know, you can use our Facebook, Instagram app if you like, Aaron's posting something on there every day for you technophiles. And I'm enjoying reading what you're grateful for on a daily basis. Be fun to make that thing blow up. Right? As we continue to practice this attitude of gratitude through this month of November. And so for our practice today, we're just going to look for ways that we can move in the world with peaceful abiding. That we look for ways that we can allow ourselves to soften just a little bit in our language, in our actions, in our thinking. And take that into our work week and see what changes. And come back next week and let me know how it went.
This is called Turn to Me. I hope you like it. When your mind is full and your thoughts are low, when you wish your worries would just let go, when it hurts too much to let feelings show, turn to me. When your sleep's interrupted with dreams of despair, and the world you wake up to just isn't fair, and there's so much to handle that you no longer care, turn to me. Turn to me and breathe your life again. Turn to me and see you're always friend. Let your light be your guide, your mentor, your ear. Look inside and you'll find, turn to me. When your heart is empty and you're all alone, and the walls around you so dark have grown, when your tears stream down and there's no one to care, turn to me. Turn to me and breathe your life again. Turn to me and see you're always friend. Let your light be your guide, your mentor, your ear. Look inside and you'll find, turn to me. Inside you'll find what you've waited to hear, that you're loved, you matter, and held so dear. Inside you'll find that there's nothing to fear, turn to me. Turn to me and breathe your life again. Turn to me and see you're always friend. Let your light be your guide, your mentor, your ear. Look inside and you'll find, turn to me. Turn to me. Namaste.
All right. Well, you demonstrated part of my talk today. Yeah, created something, let the public see it. Yeah, nice. Very good. It's all about you. I thought about you when I was writing it. Yeah. All right, so as we prepare our gifts for the offering, the lads will take us into our offering song.
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit lives and breathes through me. Spirit gives through us, Spirit receives through us, Spirit lives and breathes through. Oh, Spirit lives and breathes through her.
Nice. So as we go with him for just a moment longer, recognizing and knowing that the gifts presented here this morning are a demonstration of consciousness that knows and knows that it knows that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so through the heart of the individual, this generosity expressed here, we, representing the heart of this spiritual community, accept these gifts with deep love and respect as we know together they go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless. The vision, the life, the intention of each person here this morning, the life of any person connected to this center in any way, that we extend these good tidings to our brothers and sisters in our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them. Wow, gosh. For our planet as well. Thank you, Kent. Yeah, we've got to throw the planet in there. That we know that all of it is an emanation right from the Spirit itself, right from the mind of Spirit itself. And to the extent that we know this to be so, we see it demonstrate in all ways, great and small. And that's a good thing. And together let's acknowledge that by saying, and so it is. So please help me thank Miss Sandy Kelly, Miss Chloe. All right. Come on in. So nice to see you this morning. How you been?
I'm doing good.
Yeah. Are you playing baseball as well?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Do you play a sport? Ooh, stay up here with me. Don't go down there. Yeah? No. Okay.
No.
All right. So what you and Miss Lissa do in there today?
So today we're talking about what we're thankful for and who we're thankful for, and we made cards for one person that we're thankful for, and I made my card to my mom.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Nice. And Mom's feeling better? Yeah, good. All right. So, so this new Thought-a-thon. I see we have some friends who are relatively new to the center. This is a great way to meet people and to get connected. And it really is going to be kind of a house party, right? So there's going to, I think there's 10 or 11 songs that the band is doing. And some more guys are coming in to support them. We don't get Kent though, right? No, he had another gig. So unfortunately, because we always love when you're here, don't we? Yes, so you'll be missed. So we'll have to do another one so that you can, and give you, a couple minutes. 16 measures. Yeah. So anyway, it's going to be a good time. We're going to be, what we're going to be doing is showing off our center to the internet, which is the World Wide Web. I know. It is the World Wide Web. I'm going to give a shout out to my relatives in Ireland and England and Germany and the East Coast and all of it. So, so please join us. If you can't be here, that's okay, but we at least need an audience, and then we can find, you can visit. There's going to be food here and so forth. So we're going to kick off at 3, so get here around 2:30 so you can be in your places. And anyway, it's going to be fun. And we're going to raise some money, so so you may get a phone call too. It's like the old Jerry Lewis telethon kind of thing. We're doing it through the internet. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We have to share our place with others and raise some money and have some fun doing it, and get to listen to Ken Francis and the Grenadians of the Galaxy for 4 hours. So that's going to be good. All right, so let's invite our practitioners, ministers, to circle the room. Reverend Kathy's going to pray us out. You're going to come back later, and we're going to have a good time.
So join me, please, as I speak in the first person for each one here, as I recognize this presence, this life, which is the life of God, which is the life of love and kindness and compassion and peace. And I am one with God. I am one with the love and compassion and peace. And I hereby proclaim right now that I am just a loving being, a loving divine being, expressing love, kindness, and compassion to all. And I also know, too, that today's New Thought-a-thon is a perfect idea in the mind of God, that it is a fun and prosperous event. And so with such immense gratitude for everyone here, for Reverend Mike, our sound, ushers, greeters, everyone here participating, I just give glorious thanks right now that my word is into the law and cannot be returned void, as I let it be so, and so it is.
Please stand for the peace song. Let it begin with me. Thank